Now look at this UI. So I'm passing this x1 as a 50 and this y1 also as a 50 and x2 where this line should be stopped, so that I'm giving 200 and the y2 also a 50, which be the horizontal line. And now I'm changing this. I wanted to draw a line, so this line will get drawn. Let's start for implementing a text boxes for getting these values. So if you see for this draw line, we have these parameters like pen and x1, y1 and x2, y2. So now what we are going to do, whenever we wanted to draw a line, so these numbers as of now in this code base, we have entered the hard coded values. We pass total 5 arguments, span object and x1, y1 and x2, y2. So these are the points which we passed for this method draw line. And these values we are going to take from the UI. So here on the UI, we have just dropped down and we are going to do the additional things for putting the lines as well, putting the text boxes along with the detailed explanation of the labels. Again, go to the toolbox. Here you can see in this common controls, if you little bit scroll down, you can see this is a text box which enables users to put some text there. And one more thing to identify this text box, which what exactly the text box consists of. So to give this one, we have the one label provides runtime information about descriptive text for a control. So first of all, bring this one a text box for entering user input, and to identify this user input is kind of descriptive text for this user input, we can just drag it here and drop this label. So first text box we are going to give for the x1. So for the line, we can just rename this label 1 as x1. So this is the x1 point which we are going to use for entering the x1 value. And for this text box as well, to identify this text from the code behind, we need to give some object name for this one. So if you see here, this is a name property. So by default, it will appear as a text box 1, and this we are going to modify with txt underscore x1. So if you give this nomenclature, so it is easy for us to write a background code for this one. So I have given txt underscore x1. So now this x1 point is done. Now we wanted to have x2, we wanted to have y1, then x2 and y2. So I'm going to copy this one. If you wanted to drag and drop it again, we can you can do the same. If you wanted to reuse this existing controls, we can copy and paste one. So I'm copying these two controls and pasting it here. This I'll use for the y1, and again I'm copying these two and pasting it here. So it will be x2 and y2. So here first of all rename this one here y1, but this is a kind of descriptive text which we are going to give. So now for this one, this is going to be a x2 and this is going to be a y2. So now if you see for this text boxes which we have given, first of all this is x1, the second text box is a txt, this second text box is a txt y1, and this third text box which I am giving as a txt x2, and fourth text box I'm giving as txt y2. So four text boxes ready. Now what are the values which we are going to enter it here? So we can change some font properties for this one. So now here common, if I am selecting all the controls at the same time, so as a label and text boxes, so here if you go here, all the common properties which belongs to these controls can be visible here. So I need only font related properties as of now, so I'm changing it from here. I'm making it some bigger text box and like little bit of bold size, so we can easily interact with them. By default, these values will be in the form of text. If you see, this will be having a text property, whatever the value which is here. If you see, this is a text associated with it, and we need to convert that text into a integer because these are the integer values. It receives the integer. This method receives an integer values. So first of all, I'm changing for the x1. So I'm changing this value from txt x1 dot text. So this is the text pocket property which returns the text associated with this control. Still it will give me the error because we are not passing the expected value. So we can convert to float or integer. I will converting this to integer, convert dot to int 32. So then this error is gone. So same for other these three values, we can change this convert dot to int 32 and this text for the x1, then here this will be a y1 and this x2 and the y2. So I'll copy this same thing here. So here this x1 we have passed, here is y1 and here is the x2 and here it's a y2. And what we will do, we will be passing the same values which we have passed as a hard-coded value. So here it was a 50-50 and here is 250. So we can experience the same line which is going to be drawn on the UI side. So save and run it. Now look at this UI. So I'm passing this x1 as a 50 and this y1 also as a 50 and x2 where this line should be stopped, so that I'm giving 200 and the y2 also a 50 which be the horizontal line. And now I'm changing this, I wanted to draw a line, so this line will get drawn. So this way we can make a dynamically we can pass the points. If I change this to 300 and then if I'll make this line, you can see this has been drawn with the extended line. And if I change this x150 from 5 and again if I select the same line, you can see this line has started from the left point is like a 5 comma 50. So this way this coordinates getting started.